This is the Build Your Path podcast, where we explore how people get into their careers in the built environment. Today's guest is Kristen Bucher. Kristen is a manager of workforce development at Baltimore Gas Electric, as Baltimore Gas Electric was awarded our Champion of Workforce Development Award at this year's Pathway Awards. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Shapiro and Duncan. Build the lifestyle you deserve. Welcome on into the Build Your Path podcast. I am your host, Matthew Pine, and my guest today is
Kristen Bucher, BGE Workforce Development Manager.
So Kristen, thank you so much for joining the show. We're happy to have you.
It's great to be here today. Thanks, Matt.
So for those of you who don't know, BGE was awarded the Champion of Workforce Development at this year's Pathway Awards, and we are continuing our Pathway Awards podcast series. So I know you just gave, who you are and what you do. Give us a little bit more of an introduction of what you specifically do at BGE.
So at BGE, I'm on the corporate community impact team, which consists of BGE's workforce development, and I help lead our workforce development for our youth, young adult, and adult programs.
So how does BGE align with MCCEI's mission to develop, promote, and connect career opportunities in the built environment?
So one of our goals at BGE is to ensure that our workforce represents the community that we serve. In order for us to really achieve this goal, we knew we needed to become more engaged with our local communities. So we've done this through our workforce development programs, which are designed to help our students, young adults, and adult job seekers from our community to build skill sets needed for careers in energy and construction, also increase their awareness to job opportunities within the industries, and then to connect them to family-sustaining careers.
Great. And I know we were talking off air, Kristen. You said that BGE has been busy with the high school internship program. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. We're at our final 2 weeks of the high school internship program right now. But we launched that program in 2016 with 14 students, and it has grown each year. This year, we're actually hosting over 60 students. The program is an incredible hands-on experience for students pursuing a technical trade through a summer internship. It really extends the students' classroom experience and exposes them to careers in the utility and beyond. In order to do this, we've developed partnerships with regional CTE high schools to identify interested students, and then we begin to recruit them into the program. It's a year-long process full of engagement. The internship itself consists of intensive professional and personal development sessions, team building activities, a prep class for the constructions and skilled trades test, which is a requirement for the utility industry, and in non-COVID years, a hand-on work experience alongside the BGE field teams. We hope to get back to that soon. New this year, we have included driver's education, which is extremely exciting for us. We recognize that students pursuing careers within our industry often need a driver's license to even be selected for an interview to compete for a position. We wanted to address this barrier, so we have incorporated driver's education at no cost to our student. I'm thrilled to say since we started the program, we've hired 19 students directly into our operations organizations.
That's awesome news. Yeah, I know we've talked about it before on the podcast, but how transportation really can be a big barrier to a lot of people, getting a job and retaining a job. So that's really awesome news. And I know this was another part of your guys' application for the Pathway Awards. Talk a little bit about the BGE Workforce Collaborative.
So the BGE Workforce Collaborative is just an amazing example of what happens when you challenge yourself to do things just a little differently. At BGE, we recognize that there are many people in our community who are in need of not just jobs, but careers that would support their families. We also recognize there was a national skilled trades labor shortage that was impacting our talent pipeline, as well as our contractors' talent pipeline. So how could we connect the two and really bridge that gap? So after many months of discussion, both internally and externally with experts, we landed on a collaborative model that brought together the utility and the nonprofit and a partnership for a new program, which was the BGE Workforce Collaborative. With this program, BGE targets adults who are from either underemployed or unemployed who are interested in pursuing a career within the industry. Participants who are selected receive job training, which includes industry recognized OSHA certifications and also support services to address employability barriers like transportation, which we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. At graduation, participants are connected to a network of potential employers, which include BGE contractors. Since we've launched in 2019, we've seen amazing successes. And as of tomorrow, we will have graduated over 90 or nearly 90 individuals from the program. And again, 90% of those have been placed in jobs or have pending job offers.
That is absolutely terrific. Great job there. And I know we just mentioned this with the high school programs and the Workforce Collaborative as well. How big of an emphasis and why is there such an emphasis placed on the next generation with some of BGE's programs?
So igniting a passion for STEM careers in our youth is a key priority for BGE Workforce Development. That ensures that we're building the talent pipeline for generations to come. We do that at all levels: middle school, high school, young adult job seekers, and college as well. One thing that we do for our local schools and our nonprofits is really focus on our middle school programming to help build awareness and interest in careers and possibilities within the industry. We take key focus to listen to our stakeholders and plug in through meaningful ways. One opportunity that BGE has for local schools through a partnership with the National Energy Education Development Project, known as NEED, is an Energizing Student Potential Program. ESP is a STEM-focused energy program geared for grades 3 through 8, which is available to any middle school teacher in our service territory who would like to sign up for it. And it can help bring STEM education and career awareness directly into middle school to help continue to build that pipeline in interest.
That's great. I know you mentioned with the labor shortage and the labor gap that there is. Part of our application for the Pathway Awards, we asked the applicants and the people who were sponsoring them, about non-traditional and marginalized members of the community to really, boost the labor force. So how does BGE encourage those members of the community to consider careers in the built environment?
So we recognize that not everyone in our community has had fair access to careers within the industry. There have been environmental and social barriers that have shut out many communities from competing for these career opportunities. The BGE Workforce Development Program specifically focuses on driving for equity in this space. And this looks and feels differently depending on the situation. Much of our efforts have ensured there is access, awareness, and true career opportunities in the space. We do this by recruiting differently for our positions or funding gaps in programming at schools. For example, we funded the reboot of the plumbing program in Baltimore City schools in 2019. Another way this shows up in our work is identifying key barriers and creating practical solutions. Transportation, like we've talked about several times, is one of those barriers that often holds back young adults and adults alike from obtaining meaningful employment in any industry. So we strategically included funding and programming to assist individuals in earning driver's licenses, ensuring affordable insurance, and then potentially purchasing a vehicle.
Great. And a bit of a wrap up for you. I'm always curious with some of these big companies or companies that really focus on workforce development. What are some of your strongest testimonials or statistics from some of your programs to show your impact?
So there's so many wonderful testimonials from individuals that we've met over the years. I'll share a story that I think is particularly meaningful, or at least it's meaningful to me. 2019 was the last year we were able to have in-person interns because of the pandemic in 2020. But in the fall of 2019, I got a text message one afternoon while I was at my desk doing some work, and it was from one of the students that was an intern over the summer. And he sent a picture of him and 5 other students at the school, but former interns, and they were all wearing their BGE t-shirts. We gave them BGE t-shirts during the internship program so they could wear them at team building events and throughout other times. And the text said, "Miss Kristen, it's wear your college shirt day at school today. And since we are not headed to college and we want to pursue a career in the trades, we decided to all wear our BGE t-shirts to represent where we wanted to go after we graduate." And it was just so powerful to see like how meaningful the experience was and how the students were taking it so seriously and have really set that to be their goal. Fast forward to just a couple weeks ago, 3 of the students in the picture had been hired on as full-time BGE employees in our utility trainee area. And one of the interns was talking to our current interns in a panel discussion, and he was sharing the impacts of the program and to the current BGE class. And during the conversation, he said he didn't want to brag, but he wanted to share that at the age of 19, he was purchasing his very first home, a single family home. And you could just see the pride on his face. And I just thought, oh my, like this is why we do this work. This is why we, continue to reach into the community and ensure that, everyone has access and, can work towards the goals and the dreams of their life. So there's many, many stories, and I have a whole slew of metrics that I could share, but I just feel like, metrics are wonderful, but, these types of stories, I think, just really show that the personal impact that we have on people.
Yeah, absolutely. That one definitely tugs at the heartstrings. So awesome story. And thank you for sharing that. And then pretty much I end every podcast. I give a plug to whoever our guest is. So if people want to learn more about, BGE and some of your initiatives, where can they go?
So you can visit bge.com/workforce to learn more about the specific programs, or to hear and read more stories about our workforce development programs and participants. You can go to bgenow.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Kristen, for joining the show. We really appreciate it. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Matt. It was great to be here.
If you want to learn more about Build Your Path podcast or the built environment overall, go ahead and visit buildyourpath.org. Another big thank you to our guest, Kristen Bucher from BGE. Once again, this episode was brought to you by Shapiro and Duncan. Build Your Path podcasts are produced by the Maryland Center for Construction, Education, and Innovation. I'm Matt Pine. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.